Hi there, my name is Rachelle MacDonald and I work with Pinnacle Teaching Solutions. And today I'm going to be talking to you about how to deal with technical problems for a live online class. Maybe the idea of technical failure or the possibility or the probability of technical failure freaks you out as an online teacher. I know I've had that same anxiety. So I'm here to give you a couple of practical tips that will help you navigate technical difficulties for a live online class. Whether your only experience is having just taken an online class or whether you were teaching an online class, you will have experienced technology failure at some level. So what do you do when that happens? I'm going to give you 3 practical tips to help you deal with inevitable technical problems so you don't have to panic and you can use your time in class effectively. Tip number 1, plan in advance. You want to anticipate the problem as much as you can. So a couple of questions to ask yourself are, number 1, do my students know how to use the technology? The principle goes, if you had to learn it, so do they. And so it's always good to check beforehand. If you can, provide tutorials in advance of your class so your students can learn how to use the technology. Ask, have my students tested out their audio and video before the call? You can actually make this a requirement before any live class. Also, in your lesson planning, you might want to build buffer time in between your activities to allow for technical difficulties. The third question to ask is, what is my backup plan if my live call does not go as I had hoped? Some examples of a backup plan could be that you record your instruction as you do it live and post it to a learning management system or a shared drive after you're done. This allows your students to go back and view the content even if their internet connection wasn't great. You could also have some alternate back pocket activities for your students to complete if they're having internet difficulties during a live call. So that could be anywhere from giving a worksheet or having them do a completely different activity that demonstrates their understanding of the topic. You could post questions and have students record themselves answering that topic, or you could even give them an opportunity to do a written assignment instead. Tip number 2 is to communicate. That seems obvious, but there are other ways to communicate besides just your live call, as you know. Make sure that you have instant messaging contact with your students before the call, if possible, so that if something does go wrong, you or a teaching assistant can contact them and say, where are you? How can I help you? Communicate your plan for the lessons to your students in advance, if possible, so that then they know what to do and who to contact if something goes wrong on their end. You can also use in-the-moment technical difficulties to show students how you deal with stress. Even asking them, hey, what would you do in a situation like this? And you can turn it into a teachable moment. Tip number 3, and my personal favorite, if at all possible, recruit help. Appointing a tech-savvy student or a TA as the go-to person for anything technical can take tech stress right off of you. If you're doing a live call with a TA, having them operate functions like breakout rooms, polling, monitoring the chat feature, and nonverbal reactions can take a lot of distracting things away from you so that you can teach your lesson and focus on the content. So in summary, dealing with technical difficulties. Take a deep breath. You're going to be fine. Your students are going to be fine, and you can make it through. Here are the 3 tips, just one more time. Number 1, plan in advance, anticipate your problems, and prepare in advance, just in case they happen. Tip number 2, communicate. Let your students know what the plan is and what they can do if something happens. Tip number 3, recruit help. Having either a student or a TA help you with technical problems can take a lot of the stress off of you as you're teaching online. I hope this was helpful for you. All of us at Pinnacle Teaching Solutions are here for you to help you in your online teaching journey. And if you have any questions that you'd like us to address, feel free to send us an email. Happy teaching!